Hey everybody, here's a quick video on some refinements on editing in Photoshop. I've chosen one of Renee's posts from this week on Downtown to show you a couple little tricks and techniques here. Um, this is a great subject matter to go downtown where there's work being done or abandoned buildings. Um, it's rich with visual possibilities. Just a great subject matter overall. One of the things I'm trying to get you guys to think about is when sky is involved in the picture, how does it help or not help the situation? In this case, we always ask the question, where is the focal point? What is the focal point of the picture, and where's the viewer's interest supposed to go? And in this case, we would say the road closed sign and the diagonal line of the gate, as well as the building behind and the roadway. And then we say the next question, what takes your eye away from the focal point? What leads the eye away? And the answer to that is always the lightest area or light areas, which would be the sky here. So do you notice how there's this tension between wanting to look at the focal point and being pulled away by the sky, and then coming back and looking at the focal point, being pulled away by the sky? So the answer is, if possible, to avoid you putting the sky in the picture, then the next answer is to balance up the light a little bit more and bring more light into the focal point. I always start out with the levels, that's image adjustment levels, and right here, the shortcut for that is Control L. So on the levels, we see a histogram that shows all the tones from black, you can see down here, to white. There's a whole lot of low tones down in here, and this peak over here on the right is the sky. The good thing is the sky isn't blown out, it's not up against the wall, nor is the black up against this side of the wall, which is good because there's room to edit. Then if it's up against the wall, we call that blown out or clipped, and then you can't do anything with it. So I'm going to say OK to that, and let's get started. I like doing feathered selections using the lasso as a very simple technique. I'm going to just take this lasso and lasso around it, just like this. This is new to the version of Adobe that I'm using. It's interesting. Close that. All right. They have changed the version just a little bit, but that's okay. Notice when I click, it used to be called Refine Edge, but now it's called Selected Mask. It shows me where the selection is and a kind of a transparency of what's behind or not selected. But notice how sharp the edge of this is, and that's not good. We want to blend the light in. So I'm going to use the feather and dial that up to watch how that edge starts to blend. Okay, an older version of Photoshop does the same thing, just in a different way. Okay, so I'm just eyeballing how this blends like that and then saying OK to that. And at this point, I'm going to use levels, Control L again, and drive up the highlights. Okay, right up pretty much to the edge of the mountaintop here, mountain edge, because that's showing us the values right here and here. And say OK to that. Deselect, Control D, or select, deselect. And the building back here, I'm going to brighten that up a little bit. Actually, I'm going to just take this part of it and do the same thing. Select mask, click feather, OK, and levels, Control L. And bring up the light a little bit, bring up the midtones a little bit. Okay, so doing the first part of what I said, is bringing more light into the focal point, and there may be some room to darken the sky. Let's take a look here. I don't want the fence to be cut in half, so I'm going to grab that whole side, meaning darken the top and light on the bottom. Same deal, click that button up there, dial up the feathering. And when I darken bright areas, I don't use levels, I use something called brightness contrast. So that's image, adjustment, brightness contrast instead of levels. And we take the brightness slider and dial it left, quiet it down. And so I added a little gray to that, and maybe I'll come back in and brighten up this to balance that. So notice how I work it back and forth like this. And when I brighten things, I use levels, Control L. Okay, bring that up to balance it. Midtones, maybe a little bit like that. Okay. And deselect. So a little darker sky, brighter focus of light here on the sign and the fence. The building's opened up. If I go into Window, History, it'll show you all the steps that I took since opening the file. So here's the original file, and here's the endpoint of what we did. Okay, so that's before and after. So that's a big part of this class, is to learn how to edit for light and focal point, and work on each shot that you post to bring up the best possible intention. You're kind of a magician, and you're directing the viewer's attention and gaze through your use of light, and taking the pictures half the process, and the probably more important process is how you edit for light. Okay, we'll see you on the blog.